let's go to Lokoja, where we will also be getting updates, and I believe Ifeanyi Okafor is standing by to give us updates on the elections. Hello, Ifeanyi.
It's good to have you back here in the Kogi Decide studio. Good to have you back here in the Kogi Decide studio, Lokoja. I'm still Ifeanyi Okafor here with you. We have with us Dr. Abraham Musa, who is a senior lecturer of the Department of Political Science, Federal University, Lokoja. And he's here to take us through an engaging deliberation on the election. It's good to have you with us here.
Thank you, sir.
Like I said before, we are here in Lokoja, the Kogi State capital, and it is known for its topography, peaceful, reserved, and architecturally aesthetic environment. The people here are highly political conscious people and an overwhelmingly eager electorate. We also have an industrious population that hopes to harness the benefits of favorable policies and programs. The election is actually a step towards actualizing the realization of that objective. You will recall that there are about 239 wards and 2,548 polling centers. Very quickly, we will take on Fisayo, who has been in town, and we want to hear what he has for us on the situation report in town.
Elections here in Kogi State. I'm here at Lokoja 1, Ward A, the cinema polling unit it is called, and
this is Kalaworo polling unit. This is Kalaworo polling unit, Ward B, where we have 4 polling units. Voting has commenced in this polling unit, and we have an eligible voter. This is
within Lokoja environment.
here in Lokoja, of course, the much anticipated governorship elections here in Kogi State. I'm here at Lokoja 1, Ward A, the cinema polling unit it is called, and voters have arrived, awaiting men and materials of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Sir, can we meet you?
Yes, my name is El Shatima Abogun. I'm a resident in Ward A here in Lokoja. We're all out to vote. You can see the atmosphere is fully charged. People are ready. We've been here, some of us have been here since 7 o'clock. This is almost 8:30 now. We are still waiting for the INEC officials.
If my cameraman can pan across the shoulder, the INEC officials are just arriving with the materials and going to take their place right there. Election observers are here. Everybody is ready. The INEC materials are just arriving now at the polling unit, and of course, the people are ready to perform their civic duties. Let me come back to you very quickly. How is it normally in this ward? Do you always expect a huge turnout?
Yes, historically Ward A here where we are is the largest ward in the country. It has 23 polling units, and it usually have a capacity to produce over 40,000 votes, which is almost more than some local governments, but it is a ward. So usually the expectation is very high in Ward A, and even the eye of the other part of the state is always beamed on Ward A, because the vote that usually comes out from here is capable of changing whatever the outcome of any election. So yes, expectation is high, both for the voters and of course for people who are also seeking for our votes. So, and that is why you can see the large turnout of people waiting to cast their votes.
All right, let's ask one or two other voters here. Please, can we meet you, sir?
Good day. Hello.
What's the name, sir?
My name is Suleiman Zubairu.
And tell us about your expectation, and when did you arrive, and what are your expectations as far as this election is concerned in terms of the conduct?
8:30 to 9. I think the INEC people have just come in now to set the material for the electorate. And we are praying that the election should be free and fair, and we are praying that the orderliness should be there, and the security should not be biased to the public. And that is the essence of democracy. It should allow people to emphasize their rights so that people can have what to say. How hold the government accountable.
All right, that is the situation here. It is a huge ward here in Lokoja. People started arriving at about 6 o'clock this morning when it was not even light yet, and then now they are here waiting for the processes to commence. Very shortly, INEC officials will begin to set up. They have arrived with the materials as well as security agents to make sure that we have free, fair and credible elections from this ward, and of course we'll be giving you other wards as well and how events unfold right here in Lokoja. It's back to the studio.
Many thanks, Fisayo. Yes, we hear the materials have been arriving the various polling units. We are pleased about that. Like I said before, we have Dr. Abraham Musa Peter, a senior lecturer, Department of Political Science, Federal University, Lokoja. Very quickly, what is the mood as you were coming in here today? What is the mood of the people?
Even beyond today, the mood has been the mood of joy, excitement. People are excited because it's an event that comes up, every 4 years. People are excited to exercise their franchise, excited to decide who governs them. So it's a mood of excitement in town.
Yes, definitely a mood of excitement. Now, are you equally as excited as the people?
Oh, very excited. Okay. Very excited.
It actually is finally D-Day, and we did hear from Fisayo that materials have indeed arrived at most of the centers that he went to this morning. Now, looking at the electoral umpire, the INEC, and the particular build-up to this day, what will be your reactions on the preparation, on INEC's preparation in the entire process as it is up till this point?
Well, that is a good development. INEC is no longer new. INEC has been existing since 1998 in the build-up to the first Fourth Republic election. And INEC has done so well to put things in order for the sake of this election. I recall that about a month ago thereabout, INEC trained what they call the trainers who went to the various local government councils to train the APOs and the POs who oversee this election. So INEC has done well, done very well in terms of preparation. And I believe that the outcome will be good.
Definitely, we expect the outcome to be quite good. There are roughly about 239 wards and 2,548 polling units in the 21 local government areas here in Kogi State. What is expected at this time in terms of the activities that will be going on these various polling units now?
It's the same thing that as I said earlier. Today is by virtue of the election is there's restriction of movement. So I believe by now people are fired up in their various polling units to exercise their franchise, particularly people who have their PVC. So I believe it's what's happening across all the local government councils and across all the polling units in Kogi State.
Yeah, usually at times like this, the electoral officers and the voters will be on ground, just like we have seen in some of our reports that we took. Now, what are your expectations of the electoral officers in the various polling units? What do you expect from them at this point?
Well, from history, and of course, going by the current development, elections are always very keen. Because they are stakeholders, they are people who have interest. Okay, so I believe that the electoral officers should be transparent, should be open, should be unbiased. Because of course, INEC is an unbiased umpire.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they can be very unbiased, transparent, fair to all parties, I believe that there won't be any problem at all.
Thank you, Dr. Abraham Musa. Very quickly, we'll take another report. It's still a situation report. This is coming from Ajibola Christopher from the Lokoja Club.
Is Kalaworo polling unit, Ward B, where we have 4 polling units. Voting has commenced in this polling unit, and we have an eligible voter who will tell us the processes. How do you feel about the conduct?
The conduct has been so far very peaceful, and the people here have been orderly in their conduct. As you can see yourself, youths, elder, men, women, everybody have been very orderly, and the thing has been going on peacefully. I want to assure you that at the end of the day, it will turn out very peaceful as far as this unit is concerned. Yes, you are welcome.
What appeal do you have for the electorate in terms of peaceful disposition?
Yeah, well, the appeal I have for the electorate is that they should vote the candidate of their choice and conduct themselves peacefully. After all, we are one family from this unit, from this local government, and of course in the state. We will still remain in this state. Nobody will leave the one for the other, but we will still remain after the whole exercise. So it is better for us to conduct ourselves very peacefully. You are welcome. All right.
Okay, good to have you back. We are right here in the INEC office, and just in front of the collation center right here, and I still have my guests with me. Very briefly, we'll take some issues, the key challenges actually of the electoral umpire, as we had seen in the previous elections, had been problems of insecurity and possibly funding issues. Let's look at the insecurity as a whole. Now, what's your perspective of the arrangement so far? I have seen a security presence heavily here in Lokoja, as well as other parts of the state.
Well, thank you so much. Then the issue really is about the nature of our elections, because election is not war, you know, and then it's as if when we are preparing for election, we are preparing for warfare. For instance, for the sake of this election, the police has to deploy 35,000 men of the Nigerian police. You know, and we're not in warfare. So, but in any case, with that number of police in Kogi State alone, I believe that the security arrangement is very tight, very okay, and that I also encourage eligible voters to go out to vote, because the police and other security agencies are there for their safety. So I believe that there will not be security breach in this election.
Now, talking about security breaches and issues of insecurity, you will agree with me that a lot of these are actually put on the hands of the attitude of the political class. What is your expectation in terms of how the political class can ensure that we have a more reliable and peaceful process? Elections are not war.
Well, the political class will never give us that kind of opportunity because of desperation. They are desperate. You see, in a football competition, one team must win. But our politicians are not willing to win, to lose election, credibly in a credible election. And because of that, many of them engage talks and all kind of, unwholesome practices to win at all costs. So if they can have that kind of sportsman character and attitude, I don't think there should be reason for war in elections, because it's just people deciding on who governs them or who should govern them.
Okay, now, just like you said, it is actually advisable that some of the legal framework should actually address some of these issues. That's our expectations, and I am sure that the Independent National Electoral Commission has definitely put in place some of this to ensure that issues of thuggery, issues of ballot box snatching and things like that are actually checked. What do you say?
And the truth is that, you see, when an offender is not punished, it gives room for more to commit the same offense. If I ask you a question, how many thugs have been punished since we began to conduct election in the Fourth Republic? No one. So because of that, people have the liberty to commit the same offense. There should be stringent, punishment for anybody court integrity and the sponsors of that of the talks. If that is not done, then you still be encouraging more people to join the business of talking.
So ideally what you're talking about is that there must be prosecution of electoral offenders.
Yes.
It must be
irrespective of who is involved.
Irrespective of those involved. Very quickly we will take another report. This is actually coming again from Fisayo, who went into town. Fisayo, tell us the security situation here in Lokoja and the areas where you went to this morning.
Here we are at the Amule polling unit in Alheri, out here still in Lokoja, and it is a mood of friendly frenzy. If you see right on our shoulders, everybody is ready, lined up and getting ready to cast their votes of different types, colors, generations, ready to do the business this morning. For the past 2 hours, they have been here, expectant, waiting to cast their ballot. Accreditation is ongoing. I have people from 2 generations here. I will interpret for Baba.
That's it.
Baba,
Blind representation.
Baba says he has come to vote. He has been voting for the past 40 years. And Baba, so Baba says after he has voted, he will just go home and rest. Let me welcome another of the voters. This is a much younger voter. What is the name?
Blessing Isa.
Blessing, have you done your accreditation and when did you get here?
I came here 6 o'clock this morning.
And so what are your expectations? How has the conduct been so far in terms of the organization?
The organization is okay. I've been voting here for the past 8 years and it's okay.
Before we leave this Alheri ward, let me talk to an election observer. Perhaps he's even already submitting 1 or 2 reports. Can we meet you?
Good morning. My name is Solomon.
Tell us a bit about your observations so far.
So far, so good. I arrived here at 6:30 a.m. and the INEC officials and the security arrived here 7:55 exactly. And so far they have been trying to fix up everything, and because you can see they are queuing up for the election. So
if we can just look over my shoulder and look into the compound, you can see the INEC officials giving instructions as to the conduct of today's exercise. And people here in Alheri is that they are advocates of order, advocates of the Q theory, and you can see everybody is coming in one by to do the accreditation, and they say that here the expectation is high, the mood is one of conviviality, happiness, and being able to come and just perform their civic duty. Perhaps stay, perhaps go, but they want to make sure that that is done, and then every other aspect of the election, they will watch and see how things are panned. That's what we'll continue to go across the length and breadth of Kogi State to give you events as they unfold. It's back to the studio.
Thank you so much. Really, we are moving on, and we want to take a look at possibly the logistic and technical deficiencies. Do you envisage such situations with the way INEC has actually structurally organized itself from day one till date?
Well, that has been a major challenge in most of our elections, particularly delivery of materials to difficult terrains. Kogi State is a confluent state, and then the riverine, many of the local government councils are riverine areas. For example, Ibaji local government council, even in Lokoja here, Lokoja 2 state constituency, talk about Kupa, Go, Kakanda, these are difficult terrains. And I believe that INEC could have made arrangement for how to convey materials to those places and on time. Because many of them complained before that election materials arrived there very late. Because I believe that by now INEC should have made, having been aware of those difficult terrains, would have made at arrangement.
We indeed have so much of such difficult terrain in Lokoja, Kogi State, and outside some other areas.
Yes, in Baji in particular.
Yes, but all these areas, the expectations are that the Independent National Electoral Commission would have taken cognizance of some of these hard-to-reach areas with a view to ensuring that they are proactive to reach those areas as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's not a new thing in election in Kogi State, and they are aware of these difficult terrains. Many of those places have to use transportation by means of by water. Okay, so I believe INEC have made proper arrangement for that before now, because it have been, in fact, in 2019 general elections held in those areas, and I believe by now INEC is on top of the situation.
Again, another very sore point of elections is actually the issue of inducements to voters. This has actually, maybe resurfaced after quite some time that this was not the case. Now, the problem of inducements have been something that has been much topical. Now, what can be done to ensure that this is actually stopped?
It's okay. Inducement has been on and is still on. Voters have become commodities to be bought and sold. You see, but like I always say, you can't buy a commodity that's not available. The voters made themselves available to be bought. And in doing that, they are selling out their consciences. They are selling out the proposed what they call dividend of democracy. Because when somebody buys you at election, you should do expectations from that person if the person wins in the election. So I think that it is in the hand of the voters not to make themselves available to be bought and sold. Because if you do that, you have no local stand to challenge a government if it's not performing. But if you vote your conscience, you have the right to challenge the government if at the end of the day the electioneering promises are not delivered, are not fulfilled.
Okay, the international organizations and international partners towards credible elections have stressed some fundamental shortcomings, such as intimidation and violence on voters, as well as INEC staff. Now, this intimidation of voters and INEC staff is also another area where we believe should actually be focused on and checked.
Yeah, I think INEC is aware of this, and the Nigerian government is aware of this. I think that's the reason why the government has to deploy 35,000 men of the Nigerian police force to Kogi State, because it all boils down to the level of desperation of our politicians, bringing in thugs to either snatch ballot balls, scatter ballot paper, beat up, election officers and those on election duty. Okay, so this can be stopped by security reinforcement. Okay, at the polling units, at the RA collection centers, at LGA collection centers, and even at the state collection center. There should be adequate security to ensure that nobody will have the access to where these things are done to scatter the place. And I believe that with 35,000 men of the Nigerian police force and other security agencies, this could be controlled.
Okay, Dr. Peter. Sometimes you hear ominous predictions of chaos and bloodletting, sometimes that attend elections in some areas. Now, how would you classify Kogi State in this regard? How prepared are the relevant agencies to deal with this situation?
Kogi State has been tensed in the past few days. I'm sure you heard the report where some masked security force agents attacked the hotel where the Oyo State governor is and other party supporters were lodged. This has been happening. Head of killings at rallies, gunshots to the air all across the state capital, and I'm sure in other parts of the state. This are happening. It's tensed. But like I said earlier, these early warning signs, are well known to the government. Okay, and I think that is the reason for. In fact, you recall that some few days ago, the IGP himself was in Lokoja with the INEC chairman, and there was a disturbance. A candidate was assaulted. You know, the police had to release tear gas to disperse the thugs and other hooligans in that place. So there were early warning signs before this election, and I think that is the reason why, with the IGP himself available on that day, I'm sure that he has done needful to ensure that, you know, such
definitely. So far, it's been peaceful so far. We haven't had situations that are untoward. So we have cause to celebrate at this point, and also hope that it remains the same till the expiration of the entire exercise. Now, Dr. Peter, Kogi West is in the news too for the senatorial election rerun. And in addition to the senatorial rerun, we also have all the council areas that would come alive for the election, for the governorship election. Have you focused your attention on the Kogi West area for this election?
Yeah, Kogi West is a very interesting part of Kogi State. Interesting in the sense that two parallel elections will be going on in Kogi West. The gubernatorial election and the Kogi West senatorial rerun election. You recall that some days ago, the election of Kogi West senatorial district was nullified, and INEC had to conduct a fresh election in that part of the state. Kogi West has 7 local government councils, you know, dominated by the Okuns, occupying by 5 local government councils, and it has been an interesting part of the state. I believe that the enthusiasm is high, very high, in that part of the state, because it is not only about the governor. Because if you look at the gubernatorial candidates, none is from Kogi West, except that maybe the PDP has a running mate from Kogi West. Okay, but the interest is keen because of that decision to elect who represents them in the Senate. You know, so it has high level of enthusiasm in the Kogi West Senatorial District, and that we all will monitor the development in that part of the state.
Yeah, quite an interesting scenario here in Kogi State, and so far we know that accreditation is ongoing now, side by side with voting. This particular method was introduced recently also to ensure a seamless flow of the elections and to ensure that everything is done accurately. Now, take a look at what we have on ground, and what's your reaction?
Well, you know, before by INEC arrangement, there will be accreditation from 8 a.m. to 12 midday, after which elections will start. But this innovative is very, very important, very, very good, because then some people could be accredited and they will not vote. But in this development right now, people vote as soon as they are accredited. So there's no issue of saying 5,000 people are accredited, only 2,000 voted. Once you are accredited, you are going to vote. So I think it's a good development, and I think we'll continue to improve. You know, it's an emerging democracy, and as we continue to practice, we're going to improve on some of these critical issues, you know, in a democratic process.
Okay. Let's begin by looking at the various local government areas here in Kogi State. Now we have Adavi with the headquarters in Ogaminana. You have 11 registration areas and wards with 191 polling units. Total registered voters there are actually about 105,000. Now, what's your impression about that particular local government, the Adavi people?
But in terms of what?
No, I'm talking about in terms of the voting experience in that area.
You see, this election in Kogi State is very, 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 very key, and it's very, very unique, because for the first time, apart from the 2015 experience where the winning candidate of the All Progressive Congress died and had to be replaced with the second runner-up in the APC primaries in person of the current governor, Alaji Adozabelu. It is the first time that election is taking place with involving 2 different ethnic groups in the state. the APC candidate, the incumbent governor, is an Nigerian man from Kogi Central, where Adavi is. And the PDP candidate, person of Engineer Musa Wada, is from Kogi East. Okay, so I should expect that, well, I'm not preaching ethnic politics, but I should expect that Kogi Adavi Local Government Council should tend more towards the candidates from Kogi Central Senatorial District. That's my expectation. Even though I'm not an preaching ethnic politics, but it's a likely expectation that there'll be massive voters turnout because the interest is very high. And then election democracy is a game of number. The more people you have, the higher the tendency for you to win the election. So I'm sure they are well mobilized to come out en masse to vote for their candidate of their choice. Apart from that, the other issue of interest, which cuts across ethnic and other primordial sentiments.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Peters. Now, you just talked about Adavi. We also have Ankpa. And Ankpa actually has a voting population, a registered voters population of 142,000. Dekina has a registered voters population of 166,000. You have other ones with very high voter population like Lokoja, 137,000, Ukene with 131,000. Now these are local governments here where you have a high number of registered voters. What's your expectations in those areas with very high numbers of registered voters? Those are key areas here in Kogi State.
Yeah, those local government councils are key deciding local government councils. The candidate that is able to win majority, high majority in those local government councils may likely emerge the winner in the election. But before I get there, I've always said this, that whoever emerges the winner of this election is a Kogite. And Kogites will queue behind him or her to paddle the affairs of the state. But again, you talk about Ankpa, talk about Jikina, for example. These two local government councils are in Kogi East. And Kogi East has a strong contender for the office of the governorship of Kogi State. So again, I may suspect that the Kogi East person may garner higher number of votes in the local government councils. Again, it's not conclusive. There's an issue of interest that again cut across ethnic group. But it's my maybe prediction, sort of. But Lokoja is the state capital, even though it falls within Kogi West Senatorial District, but it's a bit unpredictable, knowing can't really predict the minds of the people. But again, it's a local government council that will produce high voter in this election. Whoever wins in Lokoja may be favored for winning the election generally across the state. They also mentioned Okene. Okene is a local government council with under high registered voter. And again, like to come to my point earlier, it's a keenly contested election. Kogi Central has a candidate, in the presence of the incumbent governor, and Okene is his base. So I should expect that he should be able to gather more votes in Okene more than the other contestants.
Well, that's your expectation.
It's
really.
my expectation, really.
Yeah.
And of course, apart from him, the SDP candidate, Barrister Natasha Hadiza Apoti, is also from Kogi Central. So there could be tendency for share of vote basically among those two key contestants from Kogi Central. However, the issue of interest is still dominant in politics, and then some other persons could still swing to vote for other candidates, maybe from outside Kogi Central.
I would add that those areas are actually open for all the candidates,
yes,
depending on whose choice.
Yes, it's a matter of choice and
yes.
interest.
Now, looking at the 21 local government areas, we have Ogorimagongo, we have Olamaboro, we have some very interesting areas where we expect that there will be very interesting flow of the process.
Yes. For example, in Olamaboro, I think I'm aware that the running mate to the incumbent governor, the APC gubernatorial candidate for Alamabor Government Council, that's Chief Edward Onoja. And I suppose that the people may like to go with their brother, who is the running mate to the
maybe
APC.
We should desist from saying who is going with who. It's actually open.
It's a possibility. I'm just making my normal prediction.
Yes.
And some of the predictions may come up true at the end of the election. I can't tell. But again, the issue of interest is paramount.
Yes.
You know, Alamaboro maybe is a battleground between the two leading political parties. There are also some other parties that could make inroads, into that local government council. And to come to Ogori Magongo, I think Ogori have the least registered voters from experience in Kogi State. That may not be too much determining factor from that local government council, except that by INEC rule, a candidate should be able to win one-third of two-third local government councils to win elections. So any candidate that wins in Ogori Magongo will still be counted in favor of that person in determining the one-third of two-third local government councils in the state.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Musa Peter, for your insightful perusal of all the situations in the entire area of Kogi and some in the Lokoja here. Possibly we would have you come in again to give us some insight on what is happening here in Kogi. It's the Kogi Decides studio, and we'll be handing over to the Abuja Center for continuation of Kogi Decides.